Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, I never actually adjusted my camera. Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Hello. Look at my finger. I have a band-aid on it. No, I'm not flipping the bird. And now I'm going to put tape on it. Kids at home, be careful. Because cardboard can be dangerous. Just saying. Sliced open my finger on cardboard. Tunic, I was talking about event-driven design in Unity. And you know what I said? I said, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. Ever. I feel like I'm hearing myself a lot. Am I hearing me? Maybe that's normal. Like, who would ever do... You take that back. You take that back. Yeah, because I was trying to do some stuff while I was working on a solution. Now, I don't love all of the aspects of event-driven design because I think that it becomes kind of loosey-goosey on what's doing what where. Like, it's a little harder to find things. But I certainly understand, like, not having to add yet another dependency to a class and instead adding the dependency through the component as an event. So, you know, I knew you were right. I'm not saying you were wrong. Just don't like an overabundance of it. I think there's a place for it and there's a place for other things. I'm not even saying that I'm right. I'm just saying what I like. Personal preference. You know, like some people like ternary operators, and those people are, you know, admittedly a little crazy, but we do what we can. Or is it lazy? Crazy lazy. Lazy for those ternaries. How do you know code is bad? Look for the ternary in a coal mine. Code mine. Ooh, that's a good one. Ternary in a code mine? Oof. I'm going to turn that into a real joke. What are the strongest days? Saturday and Sunday, because the rest are weekdays. That's cute. Hopefully your game development's going well too, Nick. Robo Dome is getting Dome to Robo. Dome Robo. Domo Robo Gato. That's Would that be considered a Japanese pun? Because I said a Japanese pun once. Haven't been working on it much. Oh no, Tunic, why? You busy? Should I work? Should I get work? Speaking of working, I mean, I can talk or I can work. Oh, Cage's game is coming out. Oh. Fair enough. Is it on Steam yet? Is it wishlistable? Can we wishlist Cage's game on Steam? Can we share the link? Is that even possible? Is that a thing? Do people share their links to games and wishlist them? Because it's getting stealth dropped. Okay. I'm trying to go for it in one big push. I'm really not sure what the best approach is. I feel like awareness is pretty darn important, but I suppose if you're an unknown, it maybe doesn't make a difference. Right. I mean, there's a chance that that will work, right? A chance. Something's got to work sometimes. I suppose the problem with trying to build things up over time is that people lose interest. With their publisher. Well, it's funny because I'm pretty sure Cage actually mentioned the publisher on a stream once. Or like on somebody's stream. But I suppose it wasn't like publicly mentioned. Cage has mentioned it many times. And now he's not allowed to. Shh. Don't go back. Hopefully Cage has gone back and like deleted all of the previous videos. Can't tell anybody. So the save system's done. I haven't added all the features to it. Like I was going to do something where it saves after battles, but there's some implications that would happen in many places of the game, and I don't want to go do that. So autosaves work, and you get history of autosaves. Manual saves work. I just did a quick revision today, so I use a filtering mechanism between auto and manual, so just using one. How am I doing my save system? Listen, in Alterium Shift, save system does you, okay? I mean, I thought I had showed it to you. Game Dev Onion, hello. How are you? It's been a while. Good old Unreal Dev. How am I doing the save system? Well, the save system that currently exists is a modified flavor of the save system from Smile Game Builder. In Robodome, I have a general save date, but I also have what I call a blackboard style approach. I don't know what a blackboard style approach is. I'm good. I have not chatted, but I have been lurking. Well, thank you for all the lurks. I appreciate it. Thank you. Game Data Manager. I can show you what the game system looks like. So system data, it's basically this. They don't bother with like structured data. It is switches, which are booleans, variables, which is a number and a number, so an integer number index and a number value. And then they have string variables, which is just a 256 size array of strings. And then they have what they call local variables. Well, the local variables are GUID. They're tied to GUID. So theoretically, there's an infinite possibility in terms of a number of local variables that could exist, which I liberally abuse in my system. But that's it. So anything that's, I mean, other than like things that are specific to the game settings, everything else is saved in just pure array data, basically. Blackboard is, you want to save something? Write it on the blackboard. Fired you off the blackboard pattern, and I'm kind of basing it off of. Let me see. Oh, so you, wait, hold on. The Firewatch thing? I'll have to see what that looks like. I know they also sort of pioneered the, what is it? The shout model? What is it called? Whatever their model is for, you know, making decisions on dialogue and stuff. I'll take a look at it. Probably not while I'm streaming, but it is kind of like that in a way. I mean, this is basically, you just have one central system where you shove data, essentially. And then when it gets saved, because it's just array data that can grow however it wants, you don't really have to worry about changing the file structure if you change some variables. Which means it's like completely non-normalized data, but it works for the context of an RPG. But the save system I was working on was more of the UI part. No, you're not. Well, you are crazy, but you know those are not mutually exclusive. Having a similar thought on a save system and being crazy, those could be, you know, inclusive of each other. Maybe you are crazy because of the idea. But what I was working on was more like the revise. Speaking of crazy, no, I'm just kidding. I really don't want to throw that term around from a mental health perspective. It's more of like the non-mental health perspective of the term. So I've revised the save system. It doesn't seem significantly visually different, except for the fact that now you see the actual characters. And I put them on the left-hand side because that's, I think, consistent with other places I've used this. Tunic, share the Blackboard to people. Yeah, you can put the link in this chat if you want, Tunic. That's fine too. So what I did was I completely revised the way the save files are structured. And as far as I know, from my testing, it seems to be working, which is great, I hope, because when we do the next update, it's a one-way trip to Save System Paradise. So YOLO Town, I guess. I kind of showed this a few times on stream, but so previously, I actually created the segmentation by player, but then it was just all the files in one folder, and they're indexed. And so the only autosave was save 0, so that was the autosave. But I backed up all the autosaves into this folder. So the revision now, I actually have a manual and auto folder, and I split them up and I save them by date as opposed to index, because there's no reason I would ever use the index to reference it. I would always just retrieve it based on the date that was on the original file. And then we have manual and autosaves, and it's just infinite, however many you want. Basically, throw stuff on the board, look at the board, and go, has the player seen this boss before? Yes. Play a different cutscene. Otherwise, play this one. Yeah, and in a way, I do that. It's more manual. Well, are you saying like you could just arbitrarily decide what happens, right? You're not just saying, has it happened or not? You're like putting logic in to make that decision. And that's effectively how our system works for all of our variables and stuff. Which, if I went to like, I guess I could go to the fishing minigame. So if I went here, oh my god, come back. Here, I can do things like check condition branch, right? And then I can do a condition like check variable, which is variables that are stored in the database, or persistent store, which is variables that are stored in the one set of persistent data that's retained. And then I can check variables or switches or specific state that is tied to an actual named state. These are my like customized states, like have they reached phase 2 of the game or whatever the state happens to be. They're all sort of indexed, or even like hero state. So based on those states, I can just branch it out. I'm doing a logic per thing. Like for example, I have in case where it checks for a bunch of backboard conditions for so that is. I think it's similar. I think with Firewatch they use Playmaker, but in a way it's the same thing, right? You just have somewhere which you check variables and you fire off actions. Now the one thing in our game is that there is a lot of state, and there's a lot of freaking ton of state. So we don't have like one giant blackboard. We have hundreds of blackboards. Especially because it gets fairly unmanageable. And I think actually Firewatch does that. They have like different areas in which state is retained, probably based on context. I want to come up with a better way to manage all of this, but it seems to be working okay for now. I kind of borrowed a little bit conceptually from other visual tools like how Unreal and Unity Bolt and stuff, you have like events that you trigger things off of. It's kind of roughly based on that. But I mean, it's also different, but whatever. What is this? PNGs? Let's look it up. I'll check your PNGs out. First run, increment complete, not stitch. What is a knot and a stitch? Required triggers. Yeah, so it's a very similar idea. You're creating your structure in a different way. Right. So what you're doing here with all your states, that's what I'm doing with the node system. But I'm doing it in a directed way, I guess is the best way I can say it. Like, I have nodes so I can visually see the connections between the events. Given what I know of Robodome, I don't think you need a node system. Oh, not in Stitch. Okay. So that's whatchamacallit. Ink? You're using Ink or Inkle? Obviously, RPG versus a more action-oriented fighting game, which probably doesn't have quite the extent of actions and dialogue. Like this is this is the fishing games. This isn't even dialogue, but whatever. Anyhow, so one of the things I realized though, so I'm not trying to detract. You can keep talking about your thing. if I start talking about my work, it's just because I'm trying to make myself get back mentally on target. But you all say whatever you want. Don't worry about whether you're distracting me. But no, you can distract me. No, it's fine. Keep talking. I don't mind it. I truly, truly don't. I feel like sometimes when I start working, people get quiet because they think, oh, we don't want to distract Motzi. But I need to learn to be better as a person and a developer. I need to learn how to do the talking and the working at the same time. So, help me practice. So anyway, you can talk about your system too, for sure. But what I noticed is if I'm going to have as many autosaves as we want, which is going to be limited, like every 10 minutes, an autosave will trigger, and occasionally we'll manage autosave. I realized like this is so unhelpful of a UI. Like you looking at this, you have no clue where your save was. Now, theoretically, by default, it shows the newest on top. So as long as you always pick the one on top, you'll have the latest. And by the way, I'm open to feedback here. I want to adjust this because right now I have no limitation on number of autosaves or manual saves. This might be grab a screenshot. Yeah, I want to do that, but there's other complications there that I have to figure out. I don't care about having. Well, I don't care. Like, listen, I've had so many people complain about their history of autosaves not being saved. So I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. You can have as many autosaves as you want. I don't give a flip. I might put a limiter that you can choose, but I'm not going to force people to have a limit. I'm not going to delete their saves because I am absolutely sick of the number of times someone gave me feedback that the save system lost their saves. I just can't do it anymore. Modern day gamers expect the history of their game to be retained. Fine. I don't care. Fine. Maybe I will institute a limit after this, but for now, it's YOLO town all the way. Anyway, regardless, even if it were just 10, it's still not very usable, I think. Arguably, like, why is my back and forth not working? Oh, arguably, even if it were just 5, it's not very readable, right? And it's because every single one of these save slots is exactly the same. As far as the screenshot goes, I could do a screenshot, but I have to figure out how to get the screenshot without the UI layer, because typically you're going to do a save. Like an autosave happens in the middle of switching a map, for instance, and it also happens when you have the menu open. So I have to figure out how to manage a save in a way where I can get a snapshot, or I've got to like not do that and literally just take snapshots of every map so you roughly know where you are. No, there are 2 separate cameras. So in theory, I could get what one camera is looking at versus another. There's a UI camera and a non-UI camera. But yes, there's a date and time stamp. So date time is kept. This is the length of time you've played for. So I could put time as well. I didn't do it in this case because of where it's placed. So some of the things I'm thinking of changing on the UI. Well, why don't I just show it? So I'm explaining the problem, and then I can start working on like the solution, right? And the reason I put the date format this way is because it's more international. Like most countries would be able to understand that. So I don't have to localize the date because you have the year, the month, the day. Some countries use year, day, month, I think. But in general, I think this will be acceptable. And we asked our publisher about it. And like, yeah, that's probably fine, you know? So anyway, so this is the problem I'm trying to solve. There's a couple things that I think need to happen here. But now we're talking about pure usability. And incidentally, I don't know if anyone notices, but I'm particularly proud of this. The character that you are selected changes the color of the things you're selecting. And I might even do, like, if you choose one of these characters, the background will subtly change to that color, which might be smart from the perspective of overall hinting at what character you're currently selecting, right? Oh, these are also, this isn't supposed to stay selected. I don't know why they're staying selected right now. That's a bug. Because it's supposed to be the one that you're selected on. Oh yeah, there it is. I don't know why they stayed. Bug to fix. Oh, weird. Weird. Okay. So yeah, so like when you're selecting, it'll change the color of the character, and then the color of the slot will be the color, you know, as you're selecting it. At least in that way, it's clear this is, you know, Atlas's save. But there's, so not only do I think I need to I need to change the layout of this, and potentially down the road, actually add more data. I mean, the bigger I make the slot, you know, the more scrolling you'd have to do. So someday I might have to do like sorting features or options. I don't know. But I'm also thinking of something that's like color coded by time. So that maybe, or like maybe the first, I'm not really sure. Part of me thinks that like the farther you go down, the older the file gets, the more like the older it looks somehow, which could either be like fading it out or something. Just some like slight visual indicator. I'm about to go to bed. I think you are also overthinking it. Of course I am. I don't have to do anything with this. I could literally just say YOLO and not do anything. Absolutely. But I think it's worth a moment. Because if I see it, yeah, I understand. And that's where like a limit might end up making sense, is if, you know, people just will never go down to the older ones. But again, I've had enough people complain about the history of saves that I'm going to overload the saves and then we can trim it, which I'm totally fine to do. But I do think that there might be something to be said about reordering the importance of the information. Yeah, I could apply analytics. I haven't set up analytics yet. So when I set up analytics, I could do that. But regardless, I do think, just looking at this, that it is less readable for a user. First and foremost, I mean, let's talk about like a study in UI. When you place things in visual scope, whether it's a larger container or small, I know it's really easy to set up. Gosh dang it. Let me exist. I will be doing it too at some point. I will be. I get it. It's one of those things, like everything I do is supposed to be easy, and then sometimes it's not. Anyhow, I'm trying to follow the Z pattern. So typically when an eye is tracking, hey, randomness. Long time no see. How are you? Typically the eye tracks from the top left over, down, and then across. You're just here to collect your randomness. Got it. And so if I'm trying to take that in consideration, you know, obviously this may or may not actually be a good place for this data, but I think it's important that you know where there's an auto manual save. I could theoretically just have one slot, but I felt like it needs to be clear. What have you been up to, randomness? Secondarily, we have all the characters, and there's such a visual difference from the map, and they're on the left-hand side because there's also like the F pattern of UI, that this is probably a good place for them. Thanks, Tunic. Thanks, Tunic. I'm going to bed, but I'm still going to talk to you, and I really appreciate it, Tunic. Been working so much overtime. You're actually awake. Whoa, overtime's good, right? So if we're looking at the individual save slot, we need to apply the same thinking. And here's what I would argue. The most important values here, as was noted by Zalos. How do you say it? Zalos? Zal? Hope I said your name right. I know you've been here before. They don't pay overtime where I work. Oh, right. You're probably an exempt employee. Actually going to bed now. All right. Have a good sleep. Sleep well. And I will eventually get into analytics. And then I'll do analytics. I'll be like, hey, Tunic, I did analytics. And you won't be there. And I'll be like, where's Tunic? I said analytics, the summoning terms. So arguably, the date and time for a user is going to be one of the more important things. So really, it should be up here on the left-hand side. And then I think that the title is still important. And if it is, it either needs to be below the date time or it needs to be to the right of it. And then the rest of the information is just ancillary data. How much gold you have can be helpful. How long you've played, that can be useful. It's not the most useful, but it can be useful. And the characters in your party, I guess it helps if you are at a place in the game in which you have multiple characters. But it's so ancillary, it probably needs to be, in a different place. The bottom right is going to be the last place. Well, interestingly, though, here's, by the way, if you're doing the Z pattern, the bottom right has importance. Actually, I wonder what the specific areas of importance of the Z pattern is. I want to look that up, actually. Because I'm pretty sure I know, but I'm also wanting to confirm some assumptions. So in the UI-Z pattern, what are the prime areas of focus? Okay, the center of the... Okay, so let's see. Web design pattern for human eye contact. Eye contact? The prime area of the Z pattern is the center, the largest branch where the eye scans on its way down to the second row. The trick in this area is to fill it with content that interests... Yes, but we've already arrived there. So I wanted to see, the points of the Z pattern, if there's a... For reading web content, defining interfaces. I'm pretty sure the bottom right has importance too. Pretty sure. The F pattern and Z pattern. How long I played is pretty good, because if I'm going back a few saves, knowing how much time I'm losing is good. Yeah, that is true too. So these auto saves from the same playthrough or separate saves from separate playthroughs? Any of the above? Depends on what you decide to do. So square on your face is the first step in transforming an IRL voxel human. Yes. Oh, why is it square facing me? Stop that. Thanks for the note. It was trying to do an auto focusing or something. So Z pattern. Yeah, so everything in the middle is sort of like the call to action is going to be at the point of the Z, right? So this is the CTA, and this is the top bar is where the crucial elements start. Yeah, I know. I saw it earlier, but I didn't think about it. It didn't register in my brain until randomness used words. So in the Z pattern, arguably the top left and the bottom right are two really important places. I think that's why I put the time here. But part of the problem too is the date format doesn't make it obvious. That it's a date. because our eyes are not generally used to reading dates that have hyphens in them. That could be another part of the problem. I was looking at another game save slots. Chain Echoes had a pretty good one. Let's see what it looks like. Well, I can just bring it over here. I always forget what it looks like. I was like, I remember it had a good save slot view, but I always forget what it looked like. No, that's not. This is not. That's the party. Chain Echoes save slot. Where is it? I was just looking at it today. Why is it not giving me results? Maybe I can click on one of these things and find it. Here it is. Okay. Oh no, don't turn on. Go back. Get out of here. Let's just snag a shot here. Open image in new tab. Okay. Although they did the same thing, right? They put the date and time on the right. Is the game out yet? I mean, it's out in early access. I guess you'll need to find another time to transform. Maybe you should save the save slot so you won't forget. Thank you. Yeah, I should save this in the save slot. So their method is to show an image, which... Good evening, Mendoza. How are you? Which is, feasible. We could have images that are representative of certain areas. They emphasize the type of save, like 1, 2, 3, the name of the location, which is almost like there's like multiple quadrants of this. The players don't really matter, and this is actually the date of save. Oh, look at that though. They did slashes, so maybe I should just put slashes in there. And then this is the length of time played. So they, interesting. So they did like, and they also have the version of the save file, but I don't really care about that. So okay, so I'm going to try a couple options, I think. I still feel like, well, just see what it looks like, right? Let's just put a save slot at the top. Let's put a time at the top left and just see what ends up happening with the visual. I do want space for an image, so I have to figure that one out. I could go snag a picture. I could make Jacob create pictures of certain areas or something. This would be so laborious, though. Okay, so this is the right... This is the right info. Sorry for the weird noises. Currently health that may be good. Don't want to accidentally go back to a time where you have no health. Yeah. Health is not usually going to be a problem in the game. There's enough ways in which you can like escape battle or get healed up that it's sort of Chrono Trigger-esque in that regard. It's not Chained Echoes-esque where you recover all your health after every battle, which I've heard people like. But so let's see. We have date text. So right now the data is set in an array. Not an array, a grid. Part of me thinks that the title or the location title could go at the bottom. So let's do this. Let's turn off our characters for a second. I'm saying very good. I'm usually bad at video games. That's fair. That's fair. But there's also such a thing as information overload, which is one of the problems I'm trying to solve with the fact that all these are so samey. I could just put more buffer between them or something. Okay, so we hid that. Let's put the location at the bottom. Right now we're at top left. We'll just put it bottom left. Position Y will be 0. Pivot Y, I think it's, I can't remember. I can never remember if it's 0 or 1. 0. Okay. I think what it means is if it's 0, it's 0 from the point that's set here. The anchor point or whatever that is. So and I think we could even get by with making it just overall smaller. Instead of saying the max is 72, we could put it down to like 30, maybe. I think if I start with the smaller max, it will also be more consistent across the board. 30. Edward Tuft. I've heard the name. I don't really remember where I heard it from, though. Tuft? Tuft? How do you say it? Okay, so I don't know if this makes sense. I don't know if we need an icon for that. I think we could just put a date. So I'll steal the date and I'll paste it at the top. I also made these save slots when I was still learning a little bit about the layouts, so I think there'd be different, like I would probably do things differently with my life choices in the future or now. So then if I say this is 0 and it's the top left, theoretically, that means it'll stay within the bounds of the box. No. Okay. So the number is also relative to the location. Jeez. I'm so bad at this. That means that this would have to be 1, I guess. Because it's the left. It's so backwards. My intuition is so bad at knowing where the positioning is going to be. So we have, the top left. We'll move it. For now, I don't care about the exact positioning. I'll just place it here. And then let's represent an actual possible date time. So we're going to do 2024/04/30, and we'll put the time at 21:08 and 34 seconds. Of course, we need to make the width of this a little widthier. Overall, I think your life choices have led you down a decent path. I wouldn't go changing that over a minor layout decision. Thank you for your excellent advice. I appreciate it. Okay, so this it could be, I don't know. There's gonna have to be a visual difference in like the style and coloring. I don't think just putting the date up there is as readable. What if I put like a hyphen between them? You know how I feel about my hyphens. Let's see. There's something visually challenging about reading these dates. It's slightly more clear. I wonder if you put the time first. No, that wouldn't be more readable. Also, not everyone can read, you know, time, 24-hour time. If you're in the US. Such a smile on your face. That symbol must be really hyping you up. Yep. Really. Really, really. What's a good way? I mean, players are not gonna... Not everyone knows how to read 24-hour time. Probably, oh man, I don't want to do this though. Yeah, but the problem is the localization. No, I wouldn't bother with testing. It's not worth my sanity. The reality is people like preferences. So if I was going to do different date times, I would just settle on like a setting that represents daytime format. That's all I would have to do. Very little sanity. We were talking about being crazy earlier, so so if I was going to do a US based date to see like how your average American might read this. This is how your average person might read it in the US. 4:30 2024 at 9:30 p.m. I don't think we need seconds. I guess we could put seconds. And 24 seconds. Adding just that might make it confusing for people though. I mean, I could do something where like if the exact time is the same, it would show. Yes, you've been away too long. So I found sanity during that time. So I don't know. We can try to continue with this. So then there is a sort of idea that there's a giant gap here. Wonder if I could work up an example. Of a map. Let me go in here. What I'll do is I'll hide that. Move it there. I'm gonna go take a snap of a screen. I don't know that I don't know how we're gonna do this in a reasonable way. I might not, I mean, I probably won't spend forever on the save layout. We have a workable save layout. I'm just telling you, I've been working on this game long enough. I know what's going to happen. People are not going to be happy about some of this. I have all these manual saves. I have duplicate saves? Oh, weird. It's not... It doesn't look like it's filtering properly or something. Alright, oh, whatever. I think people could figure out year, month, day. Okay, so let's just like, we'll take an image, something like this or something. See if we can work with this. There's a lot of things, Mendoza, that I assumed about what would be considered universal for people. There's a lot of things I made assumptions about when working on this game. And there was a lot of, you know, learning that happened where I realized my assumptions were wrong. Let me see. I need to go to... Where am I going? Maker... Vault? No. I want to find my way to... this PC. Okay. Maker space, I guess. And... oh, screw it. I'm just going to save it right here. I don't care. I don't want to go hunting around. You can also do it as an amount of time ago. Yeah, I could do like today or yesterday or last week. The thing is that people... the only one you could probably get away with is like today. Because if you had like 5 slots that said yesterday on it, I guess it would have time. Maybe you can get away with today and yesterday. But then after that, you'd have to put the actual date. Or you could put the other problem is then you have to localize the words. So just more you have to pay for localization, basically. So some of it's also just trying to avoid having to pay for localization. Okay. So then if I could just get an image here, let's go into our UI 5 days ago. Yeah. I guess I'll just shove it. Window? Where would I put it? I don't care. I'm just going to put it somewhere.
But Marcus.
Marcus.
Ma, you knew I want to be a rock star. There's too many rock stars in the world, but only one of you, Marcus.
I don't... Wait, where did I put it? I know I put it somewhere. Dressy developments, where I put it. So it would be... Why is it not dragging? There you go. Congratulations on collecting all of the points, by the way. All right, so make this a sprite. My sprite's tight. I don't care about that. I want to change this to point, no filter, and apply. Yes, we rated White Vault in spirit. So we're gonna put an image here somewhere. I think what I'll do is I'll just drop a new game object. Image. UI image. Boom shakalaka, baby. I said a boom chicka boom. So we could set this to the native size of whatever the object was, which is kind of embiggened. We probably wouldn't want to save it with the CRT effect. We'd want to let it apply. I like to make sure the effort you put into collect feature was worth it. Thanks. We probably don't want it to be this large. So we could cut it in half. I think I could just scale it to make it easier on myself right now. That's okay, right? I mean, it's like a CRT effect over a CRT effect, but you know, we could like do a pixel mask. All right, so then we have the image. It needs to be at the top. Whitefault's in Japan now? I thought he came back. And Marcus, I don't even know. Marcus is with a look to put a smile on my sleepy face. Oh, you're gonna go to sleep? I hope you sleep well, randomness. It's nice to have you here. I'm sorry you've been so busy. Or I'm not sorry. I'm not sure. Am I sorry? I don't know. Am I supposed to be? What's the rules here? I'm supposed to be sorry or I'm not supposed to be sorry. I don't know how that works. So the pivot needs to be 1. Ha 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 ha. Now I... But it was... No, 0. That was right. It has to be 0. Dang it. My instinct is so wrong when it comes to these things. So, if I did something like this, it'll be harder to read the text. I could make it scale lower, I suppose. Really, I can't use the little dragger thing for it, though. My class registration got messed up. No classes. Oh, wow. You'll probably be a lot less busy. You have been in years. I forgot that you were still going to school. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your schedule, too. Gosh. That means you might be around more? It's so horrible. I mean, I could also make the save slots larger. So they could just be bigger save slots, right? I was almost considering like maybe we do it by the newness is the largest one is the most recent, and then the next one's like smaller and smaller, and it just slowly gets compressed down a little. I mean, I could do that whole accordion effect idea, but that sounds like way too much work. But I could also make it so like the first one uses a different slot or something. So it's like it just gives you more space to work with. Because if that were the case, I could probably... Thanks for making sure you test out this horribly spamming solution I came up with for the collection system. So this probably makes the most sense. Right? I mean, like, I could just make every slot like that. The problem is going to be the image. The easiest way to do it would be to literally just go to every map and take a snapshot of the map. So rather than like dynamically taking a snapshot in game, which would be cool, we could just have pre-designed snapshots for every possible map that could have a save. And then we'd have to have some way to know That, oh man. I'll have to send a picture to Jacob, because if this is what it's going to end up being, he's going to have to partake in this experience. So if I do this here, I could make this slightly smaller, like 0.20. We've already had complaints about the difference in pixel density. So we'd have to come up with an aspect ratio that was consistent with whatever our base pixel size is. Which we haven't figured out, if you haven't noticed. I've tried to be consistent with the icons, but like the border of these is not right. And you got these pictures here that have higher pixel density than everything else. Yeah, so I guess this could work. If I share it with Jacob, he might like it. Who knows? So then the right, so we need to have the characters, which we could put to the right. So that would put this, so this is top right. So we would want to do probably middle. Uh-oh, is it? Uh-oh. That was... I'm not even sure what I set. Wait, do I have a... I don't... Wait. Details might be... No? Okay, it's fine. I thought there was like a layout or something. So then if I go to characters, I should still be able to do this. So I must have just messed something weird. All right. This is because it's 500. Yeah, okay. So I don't really want the width to be infinitely large. And if we're only gonna have 3 characters, I suppose I could do this from the left middle too. Something like that. Then we would put the level underneath the character instead of to the right. This is a grid layout group. Let me see here. All right, so cell size 50. Why is the cell size 55? What are you doing, Motzi? I think it needs to be a multiple of, so if it's going to be 55, it might as well be 64, right? And then what we do is put all of these together. Then if it's 64, for the moment I'm going to move this up, I think. The problem is now those ones at the bottom are too big. So I could put vertical layout groups in each one of these. That would be fun. Because that's 64 by 64. Okay, so if we go in here, I could also do child alignment, upper center. That's not gonna be very readable. Doesn't change it. Let me see. Do I do? How does it decide? 1 second. Oh, I see. If I did something like this, and then I increase the X spacing. Killboy Gaming, how are you? Thank you for the... How many months is it now? 33 months. My goodness. This is where it gets busy, right? I suppose I could move this all the way to the top. Not much better, though. Go immortalize you in code somewhere, shall we? Not in the stupid system, though. I'll put you in, you know, the save system UI controller. This is new. New hotness. Tab left for your local Killboy Gaming. Months. Support. I'd tab left you any day. I don't know what that means, but there it is. I'd tab your left any day. I don't like how any of this looks. I guess I don't really need a grid layout in this case. I could just... Here, let me get rid of the grid layout group. Instead, we'll do a horizontal layout group. And then we're going to make... Oops. Empty. Character thumb nail. There you go. We'll put this and that, and we'll put this and that. Get rid of these. Pay no attention to the fact that it all just completely disappeared. The character thumbnail will be 64 by 64. No, 64 by 48 though. 48. We're gonna need some space in the bottom though, right? So it's gonna be, okay, I'll do 48 by 64. And then we'll go to our characters object here, which is random somewhere. And maybe I will. Doing it from the left still might make sense. Let's see where we are. Okay. Back to our scene. There's a character thumbnail. There's the face. So what is this here? Pivot needs to be 0. Not totally clear why that is all the way out there, but we'll figure this out. Okay. Character thumbnail. This needs to be at 0. Top left is fine. With height. Closer. This also needs to be... Okay, see if I can do this right. Y is 1, X is 0. Oh, it doesn't matter because it's... It should matter. We'll do like middle left. So the height of this should be 64 at least, I think. Maybe we do higher than 64. Maybe we'll do 72. Width, height, character, pivot, 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, we're getting there. Whittle by whittle. This is going to be 48 by 48. Might be too small. Maybe we do need to do 64 by 64. Problem is, this is also not like the appropriate size. People are gonna complain. Gonna complain. They're all gonna laugh at you. Okay. We're gonna do 72. We need to do the next multiple, which is it 128? 96? What is another multiple of this? $72 plus my brain's not working. Whatever. We'll make it 96 for now. I don't care. Really, this is okay. So I think size-wise, it's okay. The text is often La La Land. But what we'll do here with the thumbnail is we'll make a vertical layout group. And then we will make sure it does not force expand the height. And then the level text is going to be smaller. So 64 plus 32. Yeah. Okay, so it should be a multiple, that's right. That gets us right to the edge. Too much text, though. That's where the problem comes in. Like you have the Summerton school text, then you've got this with the level like this. It gets really busy. I don't know really where I would take this right now. I think what I would have to do is noodle on it a little bit. Like maybe what we could do is put these values across the top. I guess I don't need this last value, so I can get rid of that one. Like that. And then I could make this wider, I guess. Is that how that works? pretty sure this is a grid. No, it's not a grid. I really didn't know what I was doing when I made this. I have like a grid layout next to a grid layout. I guess I was trying to be smart. It didn't work. So we will create empty. We will put, it's fine. Make a top bar. Drop that chisels in there. And then we'll do okay. Then actually make the date text in there. Now, I think that I would want. I think I could get away with it this way. So put the icon and then the value. Like that. And these don't matter anymore. This is going to be the top bar. So what we'll do for the top bar is we will, first of all, make it a horizontal layout group. And then we will put it at the top left, I guess. I kind of like actually putting it so it stretches across so that it fully fills the space. Because that, if I ever change the size of these, it will apply appropriately. So left there, pivot y equals 1. Pivot x is, I don't actually know what I need to do with that one. Right, 0. Why is it leaving a space? This is the save slot template. Oh, because I'm stuck in, okay, hold on. There we go. There we go. All right. And then we'll make the, I think we could do padding actually on the top. Padding on the top, yeah. Okay. I mean, this is not how it's going to end up being, because we have to like not have those things so far away from each other. You can put some spacing between them. This is where the one problem comes in, is I think I need to do, like, these would need to be on the right side, I think, instead of on the left. So I would need to put, so maybe I'll just take info bar, I call it. So I need to take the date out of it, because the date needs to be its own thing on the top left. And then this info bar is going to be at the top right, which is going to be like that. And X is going to be 1, I think. Hopefully. And then the width, we'll figure it out. So 250, 260. Something like that. I could swap the money and the dates. Why is it? Something going on with the width of these things. 32. It's because I have to leave space for the amount of gold you might have. I don't think we're going to have gold that far, are we? Famous last words. Actually, it's a time that would be more steady. I'm pretty sure that's minutes. Then maybe we'd put the characters to the right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't commit that I was going to fix the layout right away. But I have some ideas. I think I need to play with those ideas a little bit more. I kind of like this, but it's there's still a lot of busyness here. And I might actually like it if the slot template was a little shorter. But then we gotta do something with the text here. It's more readable. But with this here, this would be really clear to people like when they last played it. And as Randomness pointed out, it could be yesterday or today or whatever, so it's more clear there too. But I don't know yet what to do about these values. But I think that even just having an image here will make it more obvious too on where they are. The main question is going to be, do we do it per map or do we do it like per area? I don't know the best way. I'll talk to Jacob about it. But putting an image here probably makes sense. He'd prefer I just take like a snapshot of the screen. Oh man, that would make sense. Just don't want to do it. More time. All right, anyway. So for the moment, I'll just like turn that off and move it out of the way. Because it's not, whatever. One thing I do want to look at though is our input system. So we have a controls window. Which is in our settings. Hold on. And now I have a way to dynamically show controls. So I need a way to show controls without putting all the things there. I don't think I've even mapped all this stuff. So for the moment, what I will do, I'll make a copy of this. I'll see if I can build out a view that's similar. All right, go sleepy sleep. I mean, I'm already feeling pretty tired. I was up at 6:30 because I had to take my son to a doctor's appointment, so I'm pretty drained. Have a good night, Mendoza. Thanks for lurking and hanging out and chatting a little bit. I don't want all the little text widgets. How do I turn those off? I always forget which setting it is. It is something. Is it like a... I thought there was a gizmo setting somewhere. No? Just all of it? But I don't want all of it. I just want the, like... the icons. Whatever. They're just annoying me. I don't even know, like, what text, what is it even showing me? Okay, so let's see if we can replace some of this stuff. So let's not worry about header icons for the moment. What I want to try and do is just add another section here and apply the input system. Which would be here. Yeah. We're going to put an input icon action here, and then we're going to make it apply to the move. I chose a bad option for the start. Let's let's choose one that's not, because the moving one's going to be slightly more complicated. Let's do the interact one. That's the one. That makes more sense. Okay, so we have our input action, and in this case it's not the right one, but we'll choose it's fine. So we need the interact one, which I believe is decide. User decide. You can see right now it's like a squished space. I gave up on the notion that I was going to put text inside of those. So if that's true, I should be able to get rid of all three of these things. Can't remember if there's more than one interaction type. And also I'm a little concerned that this isn't showing the right button. Thought it did though. So if I were to just steal this and remove the dynamic controls, I know it's going to totally mess everything up, but we're going to do it anyway. And put this right here. Let's just see what happens. We'll close that. And close that. And hit play. See. Okay. So that shows that control. I need to get my controller. I should say controllers. Now you see me, now you don't. Okay. So I gotta swap my keyboard since I don't have a lot of extra plugins here. Sorry for the sounds. By the way, completely unrelated. My brother-in-law got me one of those, like, you can't see it because it's a Zelda board, or like a keyboard mat thing. I guess some people also use these things for like card games. Which is funny because unfortunately I have a keyboard tray. It's a little harder for me to use it for my actual keyboard mouse area, but I'm gonna put it over my desk. It'll be kind of cool. All right. So theoretically, when I plug this in, if I can figure out how this works. And to go here. Now it's a giant A. So that is working as expected. Okay. So it'll be one of those systems where you change your controls and it will change with you. So I could go through and just remake all of these things so that we don't have to have like 3 different views. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go and add all the buttons for them, but you know what? Am I opening Pandora's box with that? The problem is then the second we do this, we'll have to capture every possible control type. Or have the generic ones managed, which is sort of like the way they do it is they use like they show a north, south, east, west button basically. I guess I'm okay with that. Whatever. Okay, so I'll rebuild this for S's and G's. We'll just see if I can get like a somewhat reasonable view of what it would look like. Let's get rid of interact entirely. Let's see, hold on. Primarily, I just want to see what it's going to look like. So we go tab controls. Okay. So what we need is to get rid of every single one. Oh crap. I can't delete it. Okay, let me de-instance this. How do I do that? I thought there was a way to break a connection. Of a prefab. How do I do that? It's prefab. Unpack completely. Okay. So unpack completely removes this entire thing from the prefab, which is exactly what I want. So now we just, do this for everything. And actually, I could probably just go in here and take each one. Yeah, I could. Faces child. Probably should name it based on the thing. This is going to be... Is it move? Or walk? Because it's user controls. It's user... Did I do every direction? No way. I don't think I did. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went every direction. Perfect. And then I have horizontal. Oh, I did not set the directional movement up for this. Frick. Well, a better way to learn about your bad, design for input than trying to do this dynamic solution. Well, let's see what happens if I choose one of the directions. So if I say up, right. Crap. Oh man, that sucks. Oh, I made some bad choices. Okay. So then, just hit a small snag. No big deal. Yeah. Well, we're going to abandon that for the moment because I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do those. And I don't want to figure that out right now. So instead, we're going to change tactics a little bit. I'm going to go put the tabbing thing in here. I don't know the best way to do it. I think I'm going to have to do squish the tabs, I suppose. Why is this not visible? It's not showing the... Does it have an image on it? It's here. What hides it? I always forget, what... Everything is set. It exists. It's not showing anything. You're right there. Well, I guess I don't have to see it to do what I want to do. So let's go seal the left and rights. We have in the autosave section, I added left and right input actions. So what I think I should do is I should squish all of the tabs in a little bit and then just put a left and right option. Which questionably I could just do in the black space. In which case, is tab select, let's see, this is a grid. I think I should put it in between though. Like that. Get ourselves some tabs in here. Tab right. Tabs. Why is it not showing? Oh, because it needs to be on the right. Okay, hold on. Go to... Okay. So tab left, tab right, and then I think what we need to do is take these tabs and just shovel it. Just, okay, will these squish? I don't even know if these will squish properly. They certainly don't seem to be squishing. Which means I need to make the cell size smaller. Something like this. We'll do this by, I think those end up being 34 by 34. So if we're going to do that, we should make it 42, just to give it some space. I don't know why it does 41.999967. And then these, so if that were true, actually not sure. Maybe we'll put that there. Let's see what it looks like. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? At least I'm not going through a bunch of compile times. Whether or not this is interesting is another story, but I'm not going through compile times, so that's good. Who doesn't like to work on a little UI though? Am I right? Yeah. Now there is no CV right now, but there is an LB and an RB. They're not very visible. Yeah, UA takes so long and it can be a little boring. It's not bad. So I'll have to make these larger. The CV is fine. It's just the bumpers are not big enough. But I'm kind of okay with them just floating off in the blackness. It's sort of interestingly like the space almost forces you to look at it more. I can't I can't move my mouse. There we go. No, don't take the mouse back. Is there a way to pause it? So I put this here. Pause it. Okay. I just wanted to see what these look like from a sizing perspective. Because I had to make like a little duplicate, like a little, I added a utility to make the image grow when it's placed. So right now it's 3 times the size of the actual image. I mean, that's sort of what we're going with. So the problem is like maybe we just need to make that larger. Like maybe we need to make the left bumper a double wide. Because it's just too tiny. But then we'll have to worry about the spacing it takes up. It's okay. I mean, theoretically, it works. And that's okay. Like we can make that work. And then the other thing I want to do, which I'm going to have to change UI wise, is the back option. Because I just realized like there's no sense in having an option in the navigation that you have to like navigate down to. Most people, you have a controller or a keyboard in your hands. You just want to know the button you push to go back. You don't need to actually go to the back, you know? Mati got back. So here, where did I do it? I put it... Okay, let's just, open all this stuff up again. This is certainly like the less interest. I mean, UI is interesting-ish to me, although I guess people like Primogen say it's completely uninteresting, so it's probably right. UI is boring, okay? The back option needs to be what? Needs to be We're not going to use a cursor container. I'm going to get rid of this garbage. We're not going to do event trigger. Don't need that anymore. We don't need the text to be so wide. I guess we could do... this could be a horizontal layout group. Like that. Why did it make it so tiny? Because it's a 0 width wormhole. I mean 0 width thing. Okay, so then we do right middle. Why is the input action so large? $50? $100? Height? 32? No. 24? Sure. Then we'll do the GGBG 75. There you go. Close. Something like that. I don't love the sizing because it like I can't put it too close. Well, actually, what I could do is I could put some padding in between. So if it did grow a little bit, the padding would help. There you go. So now we have a back option. I think that might actually get too big for the space. It's weird that that's... I feel like there's supposed to be a mask. There you go. The only reason I put this bar across is because I thought I would put other like UI prompts. I guess I could. So the other thing I have to do is in the what? Some controller. It's the config controller? No, settings controller. No. What controller are we working with here? So it is a settings UI controller, but I think I did one per tab. So then if I did that correctly, that's a config controller. Oh, maybe I did by window. How did I do how did I do the back button? That is the question. Close target. I swear I did something with the back button, but it was like with the tabs or something like that. So if I did that, let's go here and look at our tabs. UI tab. I literally don't remember how I did this. But I remember I did something where if you go into the view, it'll add the back button option. Oh, you know what I did? Okay, this is stupid. Hold on a second. I bet you I know exactly what I did. This is all hard coded, right? So these things I didn't even bother making it dynamic. I was like, I don't want to deal with this crap. So that means that this list here is hard coded, which means this button just has vertical interactable. Okay. I will bet you that this would just go down here if the back option existed. But if it doesn't, it just shouldn't do it. So this might actually just work. We'll say that's one of our theories. But that's just a theory. A Mott's theory. And cut. I think this is a Tuesday. I'll probably wrap up in about 15 minutes or so. And, get back to sleeping or something. All right. So if I did my things right, I shouldn't get down. Why is reset to default so weird? I wondered if that would end up too big, which it did. Good. So basically just removing the interaction. Oops, I forgot it. We opened the controls. Removing the interaction made it so it doesn't work anymore, which is perfect. The only thing I have to change here is like that. Either I have to make the back area bigger or I just make the size change smaller, which is probably the smart thing. Okay, turn that on. And where's our footer? So we're only gonna scale it 2 times instead of 3 times. I'm just glad I finally have a way to represent UI inputs. UI inputs. I have a way to represent UI for sure. But the inputs has always been an annoying thing. I wanted to be able to have prompts. I don't like that those are different sizes. Can make back like a vertical option. Huh. Or I could put the button over on the right side in the black. I'll leave it there for now. I don't really want to like resize all these windows right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. At least it visually represents the key that you can press. I think is the more important thing. And I actually could even add in this bar here. Select, like select option. Yeah, don't worry about it. I also really want to add something to the like the message boxes. So people know what they could press. There's one button people don't know about when you start the game. Well, they know about buttons, but the one button that they could push when dialogue is happening is the B button. And at the moment, the B button only... why does it do this weird pause in between? At the moment, it doesn't... The B button doesn't, like, completely stop dialogue. It just, like, fast skips it, basically. So you don't, like... You don't just, like, completely lose... And the part of the problem is, like... I don't have, like, for this beginning sequence, I don't have a skip feature. And other places where there's dialogues, there's like movement and stuff that takes place. So it's kind of hard to have something that fully skips dialogue. Like the dialogue has to run through its sequence, but if you're holding B down, it'll like jump past it. And I'm thinking maybe like when there is a dialogue appearing, you'd see the option for like continue or skip or something, or fast forward. Right, like if I held B down right now, it'll just jump through it. I think that's, I mean, like the speed at which that skips is not too bad, actually. I don't think that's a bad thing to be able to show each message. That's a pretty fast skip overall. The only other question will be like, how will the like the key control show? If I put the key control in there, sorry, jeez, I can just test it right now actually. So I need to get the decide button. I'm a decider. Let's see if I just talk to her. Message window. This is the message. Okay, so here's the message box. So I can put it bottom right. Bottom right makes sense. Yeah. Maybe. If I do that, then I'll paste this here and put it like in there or something. I don't even know where that object just went. We're gonna put it to the right. It looks like here. Moment, I really don't care where it goes right now. I want to get it in the vicinity. So we'll do like here. Let's see what that looks like. Oops, I don't want to paste this child. I want to get, there goes still some text somewhere. Actually, so maybe I should do bottom right, huh? I would have made more sense. I'll use the word skip for now, but I don't know if that's really the right word. Again, I'm just prototyping it. So this, I'll have to go remake it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Make that decide. Oh, not decide. Decide is to move forward. It has to be cancel. There you go. So now, in theory, it's interesting that stayed. Does it not close with the message box? Okay, so I'll have to put it in the message box. Skip. Just skip life. So we're gonna go in here. I guess I could always copy the object. Put it in the message box and we'll put it at the bottom so it always appears on top. That sucks. Oh boy. Okay, so because it's a vertical layout group, so I can't actually put it in there. I guess I'll have to I'll just have to worry about the placement later. But I think like positionally it was fine. I mean, someone's probably gonna look on the right side more than the left, I guess. And I could just put except like the side, yeah. Next, I guess, or skip, fast skip. I'll come up with some words for it. All right. Anyway, I think that's good enough for the moment. I wasn't setting out to get any major accomplishments because I have the stuff ready. So, you know, small tweaks for the UI is what I'm gonna have to do over time. And as Saro says, it takes a long time. So I'm just going to be tweaking it over time and adding the little, you know, hopefully quality of life improvements. The controls are going to be just so annoying because of the way the layout is set up right now versus what it should be set up as. So I'm going to have to figure out how that's actually going to work. It's almost like I'm going to have to make a control for something that doesn't get actually wired into the system. I'm going to have to make like a movement control that doesn't get used. That's probably what I'll do. Because it doesn't really, I mean, the great part is there doesn't have to be an association with the actual things that you do that affect the game and how you display it. So I could just make up the controls. I could almost just make like a, I could make a control scheme purely for prompts, like a prompt control scheme. I should do that. That is probably way smarter than trying to retrofit what's already there. Yeah, that's like way smarter. I should totally have done that. The problem would be the binding though, but I'll worry about that later. Later, Monty's going to be really unhappy with me, I think. Anyway, it's Tuesday. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I'm going to wrap up. I need sleep. My brain is fried. No, not Twitter. Go to Twitch, fool. Ooh, Wallaber's streaming. I wonder if he's still going to be streaming for a bit. Oops. He is. All right. We're going to go see Wallaber. I want to raid him before he leaves. He's probably getting ready to leave, but let's do it. Boom. All right, y'all. Have a good night. I'll be back. Thanks for watching, Ether. Thanks, Game Devonian. Hype 2. I am tired. It was early morning. So y'all have a great night, and I'll be back on Saturday.